Now I sort of relax, I sort of accepted myself the way I am. But of course I wanted to have more shade.
Audrey Hepburn, the epitome of grace and elegance, once said, "The best thing to hold on to in life is each other." Her image is often frozen in time, draped in pearls, sipping coffee outside Tiffany's. But behind that dazzling smile and timeless beauty, Hepburn's life wasn't as picture-perfect as it seemed. While the world admired her charm, few knew the struggles she endured. Recently, her son has shared some eye-opening truths that shed light on the deeper, often heartbreaking side of her life. So what did we all miss? Join us as we uncover what's been hidden for so long and reveal her son's emotional and shocking truth about the real Audrey behind the spotlight. The early pain of abandonment. Audrey Hepburn's early years were marked by both privilege and deep heartbreak. Born on May 4, 1929, in Brussels, Belgium, she enjoyed the luxury of traveling across Europe, learning 6 languages and living what many would consider a privileged life. But this glamorous exterior hid a painful truth. When Audrey was just 6 years old, her father, Joseph Victor Anthony Rustin, abandoned her and her mother. This moment left a scar that Audrey would carry for the rest of her life. "It was one of the great traumas of my life," Audrey once revealed. The loss of her father wasn't something she ever fully got over, as her son Sean later shared. Despite her fame, beauty, and success, this emotional wound stayed with her, influencing much of her life. Decades later, in 1964, Audrey decided to track down her father, eventually finding him in Dublin, Ireland. Although they reunited, they never spoke about why he left. Audrey's pain was so deep that even this meeting couldn't heal the damage done. Her son said that she never got over the loss of her father, or let it go. This childhood trauma shaped her, leaving a lasting impact that even her worldwide fame couldn't erase. She survived the horrors of World War II. As if the pain of losing her father wasn't enough, World War II began when Audrey was just 10 years old. By then, she was living in the Netherlands with her mother, and the Nazi occupation brought hardship and danger. Food shortages during the war left Audrey severely malnourished. What many admired as her slim figure was actually a reminder of the intense hunger she endured during the Dutch famine. Her son, Luca Dotti, shared the grim details of her survival. Audrey ate whatever she could find: nettles, tulip bulbs, anything to stay alive. She was dangerously underweight, weighing only 88 pounds despite standing almost 5'6". By the end of the war, she was very close to death, Luca recalled. But her suffering didn't end with the war either, as the years of malnutrition led to long-lasting health problems like anemia. Audrey often reflected on the war, drawing comparisons to others who hadn't survived. She saw herself as lucky to have made it through. She was the same age as Anne Frank, her son remembered. Audrey would tear up when talking about Anne, as the war and its impact stayed with her for life. This experience deeply influenced her later humanitarian work, especially with UNICEF, where she dedicated her later years to helping those who suffered from hunger, just as she had. A lost dream. Before Audrey became a movie star, she dreamed of being a ballerina. Dancing was her passion, and she had the talent to pursue it. Even during the darkest days of World War II, she used her ballet training to secretly perform in dance recitals, helping raise money for the Dutch resistance. These performances were done in the shadows, often in silence, but they showed her dedication to both her craft and her country. After the war, Audrey moved to London, where she won a scholarship to the prestigious Marie Rambert's Ballet School. However, reality soon hit. Despite her hard work and love for dance, she was told that she didn't have the technical skill or body type to become a professional ballerina. Audrey herself admitted that she couldn't match the technique of other dancers her age. She was taller than most ballerinas, with larger feet, which made it difficult for her to excel in the world of professional ballet. Although this rejection must have been painful, Audrey never gave up on her love for dance. She continued taking ballet classes, even while starring in Broadway's Gigi. Her love for movement and grace became a key part of her charm, both on and off screen. In the end, Audrey's loss in ballet was Hollywood's gain, as she found her calling in film, where her grace and elegance became iconic. She was insecure of herself. Audrey Hepburn is often remembered as one of the most beautiful women of all time. Her image, whether from Breakfast at Tiffany's or Roman Holiday, remains iconic. Slim figure, pixie haircut, and bold brows. Yet, despite being adored for her looks, Audrey didn't see herself as beautiful. According to her son, she was quite insecure about her appearance. She would point out her big nose, big feet, and the fact that she was too skinny. In Audrey's eyes, these were flaws, even though the world saw her as a timeless beauty. As Audrey aged, however, she grew more comfortable in her skin. She welcomed the changes that came with time, embracing the wrinkles and gray hairs. Unlike many in Hollywood who tried to cling to youth, Audrey saw beauty in aging. She was very happy about growing older because it meant more time for herself, more time for her family, her son Luca said. Audrey believed that there was a time for everything in life, including growing old. For her, aging wasn't something to fear, it was a natural part of life, a time to focus on what truly mattered: family, love, and giving back. Speaking of family, what was her personal life like? Audrey Hepburn. Sad and complicated personal life. Audrey Hepburn's love story didn't begin with romance. Instead, it started with heartache. As a young child, she experienced a devastating abandonment that shaped her understanding of love and relationships. In 1935, when Audrey was just 6 years old, her father, Joseph Rustin, left her and her mother behind. It was an emotional blow that Audrey never truly recovered from, calling it one of the great traumas of my life. This painful experience left her searching for stability and love throughout her life. Despite her father's departure, Audrey continued to thrive in her own right, becoming an icon of Hollywood. But the longing for a stable family life stayed with her, as her desire for a deep connection was always at the forefront of her relationships. Decades later, in 1964, Audrey tracked down her father, hoping for closure. Although they reunited in Dublin, Ireland, they never discussed the abandonment. Her son, Sean Ferrer, would later reveal that Audrey never fully healed from the loss of her father, a sorrow that lingered throughout her life. This emotional void influenced her decisions and relationships, often pulling her towards men who represented the stability she craved. Love at first sight and heartbreak. Audrey's first engagement to industrialist James Hansen in 1952 seemed like the start of a fairy tale. She described it as love at first sight, but after realizing that their careers would keep them apart, Audrey called off the engagement, famously stating, "When I get married, I want to be really married." This determination to prioritize meaningful connections over fleeting romance became a defining trait of her life. Her desire for a deep, committed relationship was undeniable, and it was something she never took lightly. Not long after, she met actor Mel Ferrer at a party hosted by Gregory Peck. Their relationship blossomed quickly, and by 1954 the two were married. The pair also worked together in films, with Audrey becoming the bigger star. They shared a son, Sean, in 1960, but their happiness was often overshadowed by rumors. Ferrer was rumored to be overly controlling, earning him the title of Audrey's Svengali. While Audrey brushed off these claims, their marriage became increasingly strained. Close friends suggested that Ferrer ruled over her with an iron fist. The constant whispers of control, along with Audrey's own growing disillusionment, eventually led to their divorce in 1968, after 14 years of marriage. Though their marriage had its painful moments, the bond shared with her son Sean brought Audrey joy and purpose, proving that love often takes on different forms and endures even after romantic ties are broken. A second chance at love. After her divorce from Ferrer, Audrey found herself on a Mediterranean cruise with friends, where she met Italian psychiatrist Andrea Dotti. Their relationship sparked quickly, and by 1969, the two were married. Audrey hoped for a fresh start, filled with the possibility of having more children and perhaps even stepping back from her demanding career. Soon they welcomed their son Luca in 1970, bringing Audrey the joy of motherhood once again. But this second chance at love wasn't without its complications. Audrey had already suffered multiple miscarriages throughout her life, including a particularly painful one in 1959 while filming The Unforgiven. Her pregnancies were difficult, and each miscarriage took a toll on her. As she once admitted, "My miscarriages were more painful to me than anything ever, including my parents' divorce and the disappearance of my father." Despite her struggles, she remained hopeful, and Luca's birth was a precious victory for her. Yet her happiness was short-lived. During her marriage to Dottie, the pressures of fame and distance began to affect their relationship. Dottie was often unfaithful, reportedly seeing younger women while Audrey was away filming. The betrayals took a toll on their marriage, leading to their eventual divorce in 1982. Despite the pain, Audrey chose to stay in Italy after the divorce so that Luca could maintain a relationship with his father. However, as her son Sean later revealed, Dottie rarely made the effort to see him, leaving Audrey to raise her two sons largely on her own, the happiest years of her life. Though her marriages ended in heartbreak, Audrey's final relationship with Dutch actor Robert Wolders brought her the peace and happiness she had long sought. The two met in 1980, and while they never officially married, Audrey considered their years together to be the happiest of her life. In fact, she often referred to them as married, just without the legal paperwork. Wolders, the widower of actress Merle Oberon, brought a sense of calm and security to Audrey's life that had been missing in her earlier relationships. Audrey's children, Sean and Luca, also played a central role in her contentment during these years. The pain of her earlier miscarriages, though ever present, was softened by the love and connection she shared with her sons. Audrey's ability to balance her career, her love for her children, and her humanitarian work in later life reflected the strength and resilience that had defined her journey. Audrey Hepburn's final days and the love that gave her peace. Audrey Hepburn found true happiness in the last decade of her life with fellow Dutch actor Robert Wolders. Though they never officially married, she considered their time together as a marriage of the heart. In 1989, she reflected on those 9 years with Wolders, calling them the happiest of her life. Their bond brought her a sense of stability and peace that she had long sought. As her son Sean once said, his mother had finally found someone who let her be herself, without the pressures of fame or perfection. But just as Audrey seemed to have found that peaceful chapter, her health took a sudden turn. After returning from a humanitarian trip to Somalia in late 1992, she began experiencing severe abdominal pain. Medical tests in Switzerland didn't provide clear answers, so she traveled to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. It was there that doctors found the devastating diagnosis, a rare form of abdominal cancer, pseudomyxoma peritonei. The cancer had spread quietly for years, leaving Audrey little hope for recovery. She underwent surgery and started chemotherapy, but the cancer had already advanced too far. Still, despite the grim prognosis, Audrey remained as graceful as ever. She wasn't afraid of dying, Robert Wolders revealed in an interview. She was only afraid of the pain. True to her nature, even in her illness, she kept her focus on others, particularly on her beloved work with UNICEF, showing her enduring commitment to humanitarian efforts. Speaking of which, in 1992, Audrey was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for her work with UNICEF. Wolders remained by her side until her death in 1993, giving Audrey the companionship she had longed for. Her later years were spent not on Hollywood sets, but in peaceful surroundings, helping others as a UNICEF ambassador. The woman who had once danced in the shadows of war-torn Europe now used her fame and compassion to make a lasting impact on the world. Her final Christmas and peaceful passing. As her health deteriorated, Audrey longed to spend her final Christmas at home in Switzerland. However, her fragile condition made commercial flights impossible. That's when her close friend, designer Hubert de Givenchy, stepped in. He arranged for a private jet filled with flowers to fly Audrey from Los Angeles back to her home in Tolochenaz, Switzerland. Surrounded by her loved ones, her sons, Robert Wolders, and close friends, she was able to celebrate Christmas in the comfort of home. Audrey later called it the most beautiful Christmas I ever had, a moment of joy in the midst of her battle with cancer. After the holidays, Audrey's condition worsened and she became confined to bed rest, occasionally taking short walks in her garden when she felt strong enough. On January 20th, 1993, she passed away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 63, leaving behind a legacy that went far beyond her Hollywood fame. Her funeral was a private yet touching ceremony held in the village church of Tolochanas. Among the attendees were her sons, Robert Wolders, her ex-husbands Mel Ferrer and Andrea Dotti, as well as close friends like Gregory Peck and Hubert de Givenchy. Peck, who had been a dear friend of Audrey's since they starred together in Roman Holiday, paid tribute to her by reading the poem Unending Love by Rabindranath Tagore. It was a moving tribute to a woman whose life had been defined by love, kindness, and grace. Flowers flooded in from around the world, including from Elizabeth Taylor and even the Dutch royal family, a testament to how deeply Audrey had touched so many lives. After her passing, she was posthumously honored with the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award at the 1993 Oscars. Her final on-screen role, fittingly, was as an angel in Steven Spielberg's Always. It seemed an appropriate final chapter for a woman whose life was filled with compassion and whose spirit continues to inspire. Speaking of which, Audrey Hepburn's son, Sean Hepburn Ferrer, has a unique perspective on his mother's legacy, the legacy through her son's eyes. In a recent interview, he opened up about her struggles and how she might have embraced today's world. If Audrey were alive now, Sean believes she would have been a natural fit for platforms like Instagram. After all, Audrey was one of the most photographed women in history. As Sean put it, she was the queen of Instagram because she was more photographed than anyone else. Audrey's grace and charm weren't just about her looks. They were about the way she made people feel. "It's the tune, not the words," she used to say, meaning that how you present yourself matters more than what you say. This ability to connect with people made her relatable, not just to fans but to everyone she met. Sean, along with his half-brother Luca Dotti, is in charge of Audrey's public image today. They own the rights to her likeness and are responsible for making sure it's used respectfully. Sean often discovers old photos of his mother, amazed at how much thought went into capturing her image. But for him, the most important part of Audrey's legacy isn't just her fame, it's her humanity. He wants people to see the real Audrey, the woman who survived war, dealt with deep personal pain, and still found the strength to give back through her humanitarian work. As Sean said, "She's the girl from across the landing who puts on a little black dress and she's a wonderful package of imperfections." Her imperfections made her relatable, and that's what continues to captivate people today. Sean has also introduced Audrey's story to younger generations through a children's book he co-authored, Little Audrey's Daydream. The book starts with her childhood during World War II, a time when Audrey was forced to stay in bed to conserve energy because of food shortages. It continues through her iconic career and ends with her charity work in adulthood. The goal, Sean explained, is to inspire children with Audrey's resilience, her determination, and her ability to find beauty even in the darkest moments of life. Struggles behind the glamour. While Audrey Hepburn is remembered for her elegance and grace, her life was filled with struggles that most people never knew about. Sean revealed that one of the hardest things his mother ever faced was her battle with miscarriages. Audrey desperately wanted children, but she suffered several miscarriages, one of which occurred while she was almost to term. According to Sean, Audrey often spoke about the pain of those losses, saying that they were more difficult for her to handle than anything else, even more than her parents' divorce or her father's abandonment. These experiences deeply affected her, but they also created a special bond between Audrey and Sean. He believes that when she finally had him, it wasn't just the fulfillment of her desire to become a mother, it was a way for her to heal from the pain of those losses. But Audrey's struggles didn't end there. She grew up during World War II, facing hunger and fear as her country, the Netherlands, was occupied by Nazi forces. Sean recalled stories his mother told him about those times. To conserve energy, Audrey's mother kept her in bed during the harsh winters. Those experiences shaped Audrey's later commitment to humanitarian work, especially with UNICEF. The hunger and hardship she endured as a child gave her a deep understanding of suffering, and she spent her later years working tirelessly to help children in need around the world. But even as she gave her time and energy to others, Audrey still faced personal battles. Toward the end of her life, she was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. Even in the face of such a diagnosis, Audrey continued to give to others, ensuring her legacy of kindness and compassion would live on long after her death. Sean's revelations give us a glimpse of the real Audrey Hepburn, a woman whose grace wasn't just a surface-level quality, but something deeply rooted in her ability to endure hardship and give love in return. Her story, as told by her son, reminds us that behind the glamour, Audrey Hepburn was a woman of great strength and kindness, who overcame personal pain to leave a legacy of love and hope. What do you think of her legacy, and how do you believe Audrey Hepburn's life continues to inspire generations today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories.